Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Holman. On today's show, Ken talks to Dan Atkinson from Stockton, who's a vice president of the National Sorghum Producers. Then Ken visits with Senator Pat Roberts. Kansas Wheat talks about the new greenhouse expansion, and Kansas Farm Bureau talks ag safety awareness. Plus a weekly report from the Kansas Livestock Association and a market update from the guys at Paragon. Thank you for watching the Kansas Ag Report.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
We're being joined now by Dan Atkinson, a farmer from Stockton and the current vice chair of the National Sorghum Producers. And Dan, here we are, the new year. We've already got the first month out of the way, and Farm Bill's not done yet. Why not?
Well, I think that we're making progress, and we've got strong commitments from both sides of the dome that we will see a bill on the floor in 2018.
What do you hear? I mean, there's been a lot of discussion, ARC, PLC, some of the things that have worked, haven't worked, some tweaks. What you're hearing, would that be good for sorghum farmers?
Yeah, I think tweaks is the key word. Chairman Roberts has said repeatedly that this is an evolutionary bill, not a revolutionary bill. So, I think there will be certain tweaks and certain fixes to fix some of the problems within the last farm bill, but I don't think we'll see any vast sweeping changes.
Discussion again about maybe separating them out, leaving the food as one and agriculture together. Is that still gaining some strength, or do you think in the end we'll still prevail with just one bill?
Well, I sure hope, my own hopes are that we keep the bill together. I think as an effort to get this across the floor, we need to keep the two together, because even in Washington, agriculture is a minority, so we need the nutrition programs in the bill so that we can get bipartisan support.
Sorghum is one of those that you all have had an active role in getting back to D.C. I assume you also talk to folks outside of the sorghum belt and share your concerns. What's the reaction you get from them?
I think in general, when you go to Washington, D.C., the American farmer is very well perceived. The folks within Washington do realize that farmers, are the backbone of the country and that we do feed the world. So it is refreshing to go and talk to those folks and see that we do have a voice and that we can affect change within the Beltway.
Trade is one that is obviously very important. China has been a big market for sorghum over the years, maybe coming back a little bit, but in the big picture, we have NAFTA. Is it going to be here? Is it not? TPP 11. Will the U.S. be able to piggyback off that and do some bilateral agreements? What are you thinking there? Well,
the sorghum industry is very in tune to international trade right now. A lot of our crop is going to China right now. There's a very strong demand within their livestock feeding sector for U.S. sorghum. So, we're really in tune with that, and I think more so than in years past, we're really focusing a lot of our lobbying efforts to enhance trade and to keep the trade positions that we have in place. So, NAFTA is important to all agriculture, not just sorghum, but also, we keep hearing about maybe reviving the TPP system, and we'd be all for that.
All right, Dan Atkinson, a farmer from Stockton, who is current vice president of the National Sorghum Producers. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
We're joined now by U.S. Senator Pat Roberts. Senator, always great to have you in Kansas. You talked to a group of farmers at this year's Commodity Classic.
It's a great and traditional meeting of all of our producers, pretty much with regards to our commodities. And these are people that really know what's going on, not only with their own operation, but what's going on in Washington with the Farm Bill and trade policy, whatever. They're great partners in government. We couldn't do much without these folks.
Well, let's get right to it. Of course, you probably get calls every day, let alone every week, on where we are with this Farm Bill. Do you feel good we're in a spot to finally get moving forward?
Sure. We have a couple of things. Right now, we're right in the middle of an immigration discussion. Very difficult. That's been going on for quite some time. And we're in a continuing resolution to February 8th. So that's sucked all the air out of time that we could possibly put a Farm Bill on the floor. First get it through committee, then on the floor. We're not ready yet. We do have the basics of the Farm Bill put together. I think some farmers are going to be really happy with some of the things we're trying to do to make that policy more farmer-friendly and to give them some stability and predictability, and also that message to their lender. We're going through every section. Then I've got to sell it to my fellow Republicans, which I think will be an easy sell, and then to the Democrats, and we'll see what their priorities are. We pretty much know that. Senator Stabenow and I have worked in the past, and we got a Farm Bill done in record time in the past. Then it went to the House, and it got stuck there. But I think this year everybody knows that we have to really work hard to get to make the Farm Bill a very, we got to move it fast if we can. Not fast so much as get a good one, but let's move it because people need to know. I'm thinking probably early March.
You did bring up immigration reform. Will there be some meaningful reform that will continue to be a help to agriculture?
Gee, I hope so. Way back when I was chairman of the Ag Committee in the House, we're talking quite a few years, we had an Ag Jobs Act, and it was an immigration bill. Failed by one vote. And that's probably on me. I didn't think there would be any opposition to it, and yet the Democrats had a different view on one particular area of the immigration bill, and we lost it by one vote. I think had we passed it for agriculture, it would have set the example on what we could do on a lot of other things. Now, at that particular time, we didn't have 800,000, dreamers. I know that the Senate and the House have both worked on various immigration bills. Until the American people are convinced that our borders are secure, you're not going to get a bill passed. Yeah, that's just the way it is. You do that, I think everybody wants to treat these young people who are here illegally through no fault of their own with a humanitarian basis. And so that's what we need to do. Right now we're hearing a lot of pushback from Democrats on the president's newest proposal that he has laid out. I think it's pretty reasonable, but this is a very divisive issue. I regret that some in the Senate have made it a real campaign issue.
We're talking with Senator Pat Roberts. We're back with more in just a moment.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
We are joined by U.S. Senator Pat Roberts. And Senator, one thing that you've also been spending an awful lot of time on is trade. We're dealing with NAFTA and now this TPP-11, bilateral trade. Farmers out there, I'm sure you're hearing from a lot of them, really concerned.
I think everybody knows that we have to export things we grow as well as things that we make. I think a lot of people understand we have a White House Trade Council that they're very ideological, and they focus on steel and pipe and the use of tariffs. I tell you what, you put a tariff on a country, the first thing that they figure out is a retaliatory move, and it's always agriculture. Right now, here we have Mexico buying wheat from Argentina and buying their corn from Brazil. Those are our markets. Kansas sells a lot of wheat to Mexico. Right now we have a lot of wheat on the ground. So we're trying to really influence this administration to indicate how important trade is to us. And I think we're getting there, but some people have some preconditioned ideas. Very happy to see the president talk about maybe getting back into TPP. I didn't expect that from his remarks in Davos, but that's certainly a good sign.
Do you think he's coming around? I know you have spent a lot of time, every time you are with the president, at least press reports say you always bring up agriculture. He looks at you as kind of being that one. So has maybe the tune changed, and does he get the importance of agriculture trade in some of the agreements we already have?
Oh, I think he does. I mean, he can't help but know that. I mean, we've had members of the Ag Committee talking to him 3 times. I visited with him for over an hour about it. I visited with him on Air Force One when he went to Nashville, talked to the Farm Bureau. And he stayed out of the mud. He didn't get too much into, pulling the trigger on NAFTA, which I think would be terribly counterproductive. This is a lot like pushing Humpty Dumpty off the wall and then saying, oh boy, we can put the pieces back together a lot better. No, we can't. And then you're going to have both Canada and Mexico and others make their own trade agreements. We're losing some markets right now. We need to be a reliable supplier. We have to do this. That's 30% of what we're all about.
We're over a year past the beginning of the Trump administration, still a lot of empty holes at USDA, some Kansans in line. Is the Senate going to finally get those things together to get people like Greg Dowd as the chief trade negotiator? Because I would guess that may be one of the issues that that we miss when we come to like these NAFTA negotiations.
Well, Greg's a good man, and he's worked. In the first place, he's from Kansas, and he's worked with the National Cattlemen. He's worked on my staff. He's worked on the committee staff. He is highly qualified. Bob Lighthizer really wants him on board to be a lead negotiator. But he's being held up on a hold by one congressman from Arizona who's worried about Arizona tomatoes.
Senator, always good to see you. Thanks, and keep up the good job in D.C.
We'll sure do it.
Thank you. Pat Roberts, U.S. Senator, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
The warm orange glow of the greenhouses at the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center provide a welcoming nightlight to Kimball Avenue, but most passersby don't realize the plants grown inside are the future of Kansas agriculture. That glow recently became a little bigger thanks to a new 4-bay greenhouse expansion completed in 2017 that will help get cutting-edge wheat genetics into the hands of Kansas farmers faster. These new greenhouses will be used for public-private collaborative wheat research. Molecular and genetic research done in the laboratories will be supported by the greenhouses, and a more controlled environment will both enhance and accelerate results. These new greenhouses will be the home to researchers from the Wheat Genetics Resource Center, Kansas State University's Poland Lab for Wheat Genetics, and Heartland Plant Innovations. All three organizations work toward rapid innovations in wheat genetics to the benefit of Kansas farmers, as well as breeding programs around the globe. The 12,750 square foot expansion was constructed adjacent to the existing 4 greenhouse bays, offices, and laboratories at the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center. The new space includes separate rooms for potting, seed processing, soil preparation, and a soil room to receive and handle bulk potting. The majority of the funding for the expansion came from the U.S. Economic Development Administration, Kansas State University, and the Kansas Wheat Commission, with additional support from the Dane G. Hansen Foundation.
Farm bureaus across the nation will be promoting farm safety during Agriculture Safety Awareness Program Week, March 4th through the 10th. The theme this year is No One Can Take Your Place and will focus on students and young adults with a different safety message each day of the week. On Monday, we'll promote both physical and mental health. On Tuesday, we'll focus on fire safety. Wednesday, we'll look closer into impaired and distracted driving. On Thursday, we'll explore hearing protection, and on Friday, we'll promote respiratory safety. Farm Bureau safety professionals from across the U.S. spearhead this effort and collaborate with the U.S. Agriculture Safety and Health Centers in sharing resources and messages related to the daily themes. Our goal is to increase awareness amongst farm and ranch families about the inherent danger of agriculture and to eliminate attitudes and behaviors that could lead to accidents or an unhealthy lifestyle. For more information, you can like the ASAP Facebook page, check Pinterest for links to safety tips and programs, or visit Kansas Farm Bureau's safety page at www.kfb.org. Once there, click on Education, then Safety. If you promote this event on social media, please use the hashtags KeepFarmsSafe, ASAP18, and US Ag Centers. Thank you.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
The Kansas Beef Council is hosting advanced beef cattle care and health training sessions across the state during February. These checkoff-funded workshops will provide beef producers up-to-date standards and technologies to improve animal welfare and food safety. Kansas State University veterinarian Dan Thompson and K-State Extension beef veterinarian A.J. Tarpoff will lead the training. Dates and locations for the sessions include February 17th at the Kansas Cattle Drive in Buhler, February 19th at La Crosse Livestock Market, and February 26th at Plainville Livestock Commission. Producers and veterinarians will receive beef quality assurance training relevant to the cow-calf, stocker, and feedlot segments. The curriculum will include animal husbandry, best management practices, and downed animal care and humane euthanasia training. In addition, stockmanship and low-stress cattle handling techniques will be presented. All producers and veterinarians who attend will earn beef quality assurance certification valid for 3 years. Each workshop is free of charge and includes a complimentary meal. Pre-registration 1 week or more prior to the event is requested by contacting the Kansas Beef Council at 785-273-5225. Walk-in attendees are welcome but are not guaranteed a meal.
Good morning. I'm Derek Hermish with Paragon Ag. Where will you be when corn moves a nickel? When a commodity trader pulls out their crystal ball these days, it seems like it says $3.50 corn forever. Rest assured, forever is a long time. In the meantime, though, I have come across more and more creative programs from marketing services or physical grain originators spouting the wisdom of selling options. Now, not to be hypocritical, but I too believe in the wisdom of selling options from time to time if options are a part of your marketing plan. However, doing things like selling 2 calls to cover the cost of a put, especially if it is tied to an amount of physical crop you will have to come up with, has the makings of what could be an unfortunate ending for some producers if we do get a rally. For some, it may not be the worst thing if they understand it, but for a lot of producers, it will be the wrong strategy. You want to know what you're getting into. It's also possible this conversation might be going over your head, which if that's the case, prepare yourself some so that it doesn't, as somebody will probably approach you at some point wanting to discuss similar strategies if you are a grain or livestock producer. Marketing is more challenging these days, and I embrace the producer who is willing to adapt to survive. Make sure you are making the choice to adapt and not being taken for a ride. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, that's this week's show. For more ag news or to watch the show again, go to KansasAgReport.com. For my partner Ken Rogers, I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching the Kansas Ag Report.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.